We're here with Gary Russell Jr. and you're definitely watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, it looks like the man with the fastest hands in the sport of boxing, Gary Russell Jr., he will be making his return on the Broner versus Granados undercard against Oscar Escandón. That should be a pretty entertaining fight. I wouldn't be surprised if Gary Russell gets another very impressive knockout win. So I'm looking forward to watching that fight. Now, Gary Russell Jr., he's been talking about cleaning out the 126-pound division. He's been talking about that for quite some time. We already know this month, Frampton is fighting against Leo Santa Cruz. You know, you have a couple champions there at 126, and Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton, they're also with Al Heyman. So assuming Gary Russell gets past Oscar next month in February, I'm assuming he may get his hands on the winner of Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz. Gary Russell, he already beat Leo Santa Cruz in the amateurs decisively, so it'll be interesting, to see them fight against each other. It'll be interesting to see Gary Russell against any of those guys. When it comes to 126, I truly believe that Gary Russell Jr., he's the best fighter there. You do have Oscar Valdez, who would definitely be a tough opponent for Gary Russell Jr., but, I truly believe at this point, Gary Russell, he's the best fighter at 126. I don't see anyone beating him. The only person I really see beating him is someone who already beat him, and that's Vasyl Lomachenko. Speaking of Vasyl Lomachenko, Gary Russell, he has been very adamant about getting that rematch. And it's very rare that you see two fighters as talented as Gary Russell Jr. and Vasyl Lomachenko facing off. Even the first time they faced off, it's rare to see that type of talent in the ring at the same time. Gary Russell Jr., he's been aggressively calling out Lomachenko since he lost to Lomachenko. He said that he doesn't care if Lomachenko loses his next 10 fights. He says before his career is over, Lomachenko has to see him. This is basically what Gary Russell Jr. said. And I'll tell you, man, it takes a very great fighter to lose to someone like Lomachenko, come back and beat them in a rematch. I don't know if Gary Russell can do it because Lomachenko has been looking like the truth. But I tell you right now, if there's someone who has a chance against Lomachenko outside of a Terrence Crawford or Guillermo Rigondeaux, I truly believe it's Gary Russell Jr. There's no doubt about it. He can match Lomachenko when it comes to speed. Matter of fact, he's faster than Lomachenko, but Lomachenko has a good reach and height advantage over Gary Russell, which Lomachenko, he knows how to take advantage of. So it'll be interesting to see if they do face each other in the future. We all know right now Lomachenko, he's at 130. And there's a chance he could be staying at 130 for quite some time. I know there's been some rumors that maybe next year they'll make a Pacquiao versus Lomachenko fight, but Lomachenko, he didn't really sound like he was comfortable with that idea, and I can understand. Manny Pacquiao's a big boy, and at first Lomachenko, I believe he was saying that he would fight Pacquiao at 135, and then I believe later on he said that Pacquiao might have to come down closer to 130 for that fight to come to fruition. So with that being said, there's a very good possibility that we can definitely get a Lomachenko versus Gary Russell rematch, because Lomachenko will most likely stay at 130 for quite some time. And Gary Russell plans on cleaning up the 130-pound division, which may take about a year, and then we may get to see that fight. Hopefully, there's no more delays in Gary Russell's career, because he's had a lot of layoffs. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see how he looks on a Broner Granados undercard. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.